Eve. The central panel depicts the creation of Eve from the bone and flesh of Adam. In the original Hebrew translation, Adam has no masculine article. The article is added only after the creation of Eve. Before this event, Adam has more of a connotation of humanity. The creation of woman expresses the complementary mode of humanity. The personhood embodied in femininity and made for relation with God is depicted here, showing gratitude for her existence, at the same time created from the same substance as the man. Adam, meanwhile, is depicted in a sleeping state of unconsciousness, which he slipped into after passing the first test for humanity, where he was called to recognize he was not equal to the other animals. God had given him the task to name all of the animals, and in so doing to reflect on his identity through assertion and cognization of all other living beings. Through this mental activity, humanity became conscious of how it alone possesses an immortal operation of reason. In the Genesis account, God for the first time sees something as not good. He sees Adam's solitude. Adam, after naming the animals, is found lacking any other to relate with, and Adam is stricken with a sense of original solitude, a primordial awareness that there is none other that shares in the same mode of existence. Invoked from this original solitude is the first spark of desire for another person of flesh and bone. This primordial appetite persists in the unconscious state of Adam. Not merely the libido begins here, but the material from which God shapes a companion and helpmate for fulfilling personhood. Personhood was modeled from the archetype image of God, the Trinitarian ability to give oneself and love another. Pope John Paul II says, "We can deduce that man became the image of God not only through his own humanity, but also through the communion of persons, which man and women formed from the very beginning. The corporality of the human soul finds the spiritual language of self-giving incarnated in the body's diversity of sexes, by means of which the unity of corporal personhood can be discovered and shared in reciprocal enrichment. This diversity of being human, or incarnating two different ways in which the same humanity is created in the image of God, begins original unity." Original unity is brought into human history with Eve. The original spiritual unity is inherent in the somatic structure of the human person being bodily. This composition comes from Genesis 2:23. "Then the man said, 'This time she is flesh from my flesh, and bones from my bones. She will be called woman, because from man she has been taken.'" Pope John Paul II explains, "In the light of this text, we understand that the knowledge of man passes through masculinity and femininity. We are, as it were, two incarnations of the same metaphysical solitude before God and the world, two reciprocally complementing ways of being a body, at the same time of being human, as two complementary dimensions of self-knowledge and self-determination, and at the same time, two complementary ways of being conscious of the meaning of the body. Thus, as Genesis 2:23 shows, femininity in some way finds itself from masculinity, while masculinity confirms itself through femininity. Precisely the function of being male or female, which in some way is constitutive for the person, shows how deeply man, with all his spiritual solitude, with the uniqueness and unrepeatability proper to the person, is constituted by the body as he or she. The presence of the feminine element next to the masculine and together with it signifies enrichment for man in the whole perspective of its history, including the history of salvation." To emphasize this point, Michelangelo's put it dead center in the chapel ceiling. The chapel was dedicated to the Blessed Virgin, and so its placement is meant to emphasize the role of femininity in the salvation of humanity.